Today, I'm going to be talking about one of the most impactful scenes in opera in the 17th century, and that would be the conclusion of Dido and Aeneas. And Dido and Aeneas was composed by Henry Purcell, and Henry Purcell was an English composer. And in this opera, he borrowed a lot of elements from the Italians, such as basso continuo. One thing he did not borrow from the Italians was his recits. And because they really connected into the arias and they weren't rushed, I should say, as the Italians. The Italians, they didn't view recits as quite as important as the story. They just wanted to get to the aria, to the meat of the plot of the opera. And to give context for this scene, Dido and Aeneas is about the Queen of Carthage, Dido, and her tragic love story with Aeneas, the Trojan prince. And basically, they both fall in love. However, the evil sorceress plots to destroy their love. So she sends an elf disguised as Mercury to trick Aeneas into sticking to his duty and returning to his home country. So, as a result, he betrays Dido, and Dido is very heartbroken. But with a quick change of mind, Aeneas tells her that he wants to stay, but Dido doesn't want to hear any of it. So he leaves, and the scene starts with Dido being heartbroken, and she calls to basically her sister figure, or her close confidant, Belinda, and which starts the recit of Dido's lament. The recitative is called Thy Hand, Belinda. And what is so very unique about this recit is that she sings melismas on certain words, such as to convey this sighing, to show that she's upset, she's heartbroken, she's in pain, and it really cuts deep into the listener's heart. And so, as for an example, it starts out, I don't know if I'm going to get the notes right. Thy hand, Belinda, darkness shades me. I could have played this on my piano, but it's out of tune. So, it's to convey that sighing motion, and also, obviously, other recits. This one is a bit longer, and it has a lot of text imagery, such as, more I would, death invades me, and death is now a welcome guest, to preface that she's going to die. Now, it doesn't really say how she dies. That's usually up to the audience or the director's choice. So moving in to the lament, which is one of the most impactful arias of the century. So we start off with the ground bass, giving us the setting of this aria, and she starts off when I'm laid in earth. Again, the descending on laid gives us that imagery, the text imagery of her body in her casket being laid into the ground. And one interesting thing on these certain measures, especially with laid, the basso continuo starts from descending fourths, and then it goes to diatonic, and then it goes to this very chromatic cycle, and that really clashes with her harmony with when Now, I can't, again, I would play those notes on the piano, but it is severely out of tune and not really any of the keys that I really need to play work. But that's unimportant right now. And so that conveys the grief and that this is very serious. She is either probably going to kill herself, and then moving on later. So the cycle that I was talking about earlier, that repeats over, I believe, a couple of measures, because the beginning it repeats itself, and then it gets towards into the second half of the lament. Now this part, it is upsetting. So she says, remember me, but forget my fate. So the again, she is sighing, very, very heartbroken. And those descending notes on the ahs, again, it conveys a lot of grief and is very dissonant. And then even more dissonant so on the high D, the forget my fate. Remember me. So, again, she's conveying the message to whenever she dies, for her audience to forgive her for all her wrongs and anything that she has done, but to not forget how she has died, how she was heartbroken. And going into the chorus. Now, traditionally in most operas, especially around tragedy, there's normally a Greek chorus, and since this is very much a Greek tragedy, a Greek chorus comes at the end, portraying Cupids descending from the heavens, mourning this beautiful queen's tragic death, and comes in with the minor chords and very magical imagery with the descending notes when they say with drooping wings ye Cupids come with drooping wings, and that text repeats. And then on the descending lines, the altos start and scattered all. Actually, no, I'm very wrong there. The sopranos and altos start that, but and scattered roses, scattered roses on her tomb. So again, very much text imagery where there with the scattered roses, and then a dramatic shift. There is only like 2 instruments playing on soft. Again, very much text imagery there. And lastly, keep here your watch. That is a huge dramatic shift as it conveys the message of the opera. Keep here your watch. Never ever part. And yeah, that is the conclusion scene of Dido and Aeneas. Thank you for listening.